Here's Jake Tapper, a co-conspirator who's absolutely complicit in all of this, now trying to save his reputation because guys like him have been found out to be partisan hacks and liars.
You have an entire White House press corps, though, following him around. And I'm just curious as to whether or not this kind of trying to hide what was happening with the president at the time had an impact on the press corps. Like, why didn't we hear some of these details from what they actually saw?
Because they were partisans and they were covering up his infirmity.
And we're dealing with trying to get information.
Alex Thompson and I were on the case, as were lots of other reporters, trying to figure out what was going on behind the scenes. But bottom line is the White House was lying, not only to the press, not only to the public, but they were lying to members of their own cabinet. They were lying to White House staffers. They were lying to Democratic members of Congress, to donors about how bad things had gotten.
Unbelievable. He should never have any credibility ever again, right? And everybody who bought the lies, are you just morons? You're either incompetent or you're an idiot. But we could all see it. Everybody could see it. They just lie to your face and you just accepted it because Karine told you that?
And in fact, Alex and I started writing this book after the election of 2024, and we spoke with more than 200 people, most of whom, almost all of whom, were Democrats, and almost all of whom wouldn't be honest with us or wouldn't be candid with us until after the election. And then after the election, we found out all of these things that when you looked at what was going on with President Biden at the time, it probably doesn't surprise you the extent to which he was deteriorating.
Yeah.
But now we have anecdotes and facts about what was really going on behind the scenes with details that Democrats wouldn't share with us until after Election Day.
Honestly, it's pathetic. It's cover up. They're liars. They know what they're doing. But it's a backpedal. It's a book because he needs to clean his conscience. Now, he was involved and invested in that, and he could have come out and had a different take on this if he had any courage or testicular fortitude at all, but he doesn't. He just is out there for his own career and his own longevity, regardless of what happens to the country. Okay, if they would have elected Joe Biden, which they all knew was incompetent, who was incompetent and infirm, for another 4 years, which they were trying to do until his brain fried out and short-circuited in front of everybody, they couldn't hide it anymore. If he could have just limped through that debate, they would have mushed him forward again. They're totally dishonest. And I think that slowly people are seeing this, right? The memory's not that short. It's not that long ago, Jake. You were on there 6 months ago, essentially.